morning, children. Welcome to the another class of English literature. Before starting with this next chapter, I would like to have a word of confirmation from you that hope you have understood the first chapter of your English textbook, that is English literature, that is chapter number 1, My Lost Dollar by Stephen Leacock. Now, moving ahead with chapter 2, that is not actually a chapter, it is a poem written by Emily Dickinson a day. I would like to ask you all that what do you understand by a poem? What is a poem? Children, a poem is just an expression direct from the heart. What you feel, how what you experience, and what you share. The feelings of one's own nature. Nature means behavior. When you feel happy, when you feel apologizable, when you feel sorrow, when you feel angry, all the human emotions are compiled into a set of lines called as poetry. And a poem is just a combination of all these expressions. Starting with this poem, beautiful poem written in a form of elegy, protecting the sorrows as well as the portions of nature which are not discussed by anyone else. Let's start up. Before starting ahead with the poem, I would like to give you a thoughtful thought. Adopt the pace of nature, our secret is patience. That is, we shall always try to admire as well as respect nature because her secret, that is the way nature grooms herself, the secret of grooming is patience. So we should always take care of the nature as well as the surroundings in which we are living. And then I want to have a question from you all, that children, how do you start your day? What do you mean when we are talking about starting our day? How do we start up? That is when we right from the time, right from the moment the sun rises and the moment till sun sets and the moon rises in the sky. How do you start? What are the activities you do and go ahead? Can anyone tell? The day starts, everyone's day starts with a particular definite and particular schedule. Everyone feels happy when they are doing or performing the activities they have planned for each other. These activities are always punctual. Moving on to next slide. The next slide I'm going to show. Just think for 2 minutes what all feelings and gestures do you actually compile with after watching and going through this picture. Which scene is depicted in this particular picture? Can anyone tell? This picture, the color, the combination, the particular painting like picture, can anyone tell? This is my question for homework from you all. What do you feel in this particular picture? You have to describe in your own words, not more than 60 words, 60 to 70 words. You have to describe which scene is it and what do you feel about it, whether it is sunrise, whether it is sunset, and what kind of feelings do you inculcate when you see such kind of a picture. Moving on to the next slide, children, this is Emily Dickinson, whose poetry we are going to study, we are going to read. See, Emily Dickinson was a famous American speaker. He did not live much for her life in recollection, and he left this earth with an isolated lifestyle. That is, she lived in an isolation, and she kept on serving the humanity with different kinds of the traits of poetry. And in your textbook, in your literature textbook, we have the one of her famous poems, a day. I'll read out this poem for you, and then I will discuss as well as explain this poem to you in a easy go manner. I'll tell you how the sun rose, a ribbon at a time. The steeples swam in amethyst, the news like squirrels ran. The hills untied their bonnets, the bobolinks began. Then I said softly to myself, that must have been the sun. But how? He said. I know not. There seemed a purple style, with little yellow boys and girls were climbing all the while, till when they reached the other side, the Domini in grey put gently up the evening bars and flicked the fog away. In this particular poem, children, Emily Dickinson has given us a schedule, a timetable of every human being, where how a person starts up his or her day, how their day to day activities are carried out, how they are actually pertaining to their schedules. She takes almost examples from nature. All those examples are taken from the nature. Emily Dickinson was an American speaker. She composed numerous poems comprising the theme of death, immortality, and nature. In such a poetry, she tells us about the sorrows of the nature and how humankind has been responsible, how the human race is responsible for the deterioration of the nature and its aspects. Most of Emily Dickinson's poems are written in short stanzas, mostly quatrains with short lines, usually rhyming only with the second and the fourth line. It can be vice versa also, that is, first and the third, fourth as well as the fifth, fourth as the sixth. It has to be synonymous, whether it will be in for 1:3:5:7 ratio or it will be 2:4:6:8 ratio. When we are talking about quatrains, it means four lines in one go. When we talk about couplets, couple means of two, that is of two lines. When we talk about triplets, obviously everyone, all of you know triplet means a set of three lines. When we talk about three lines, it's triplet. These quatrains, triplets, or couplets are usually used in poetry to give a good effect and a elaborative as well as an illustrative method to the poems, so that we the readers do not feel bored. Now, getting to the next slide, moving on to the next slide, you can have the theme and the tone of this poem. In this poem, Emily Dickinson is probably trying to tell the readers. She is trying to tell or correlate with the readers through the particular lens or a microscope of words. Microscope of words means she is imbibing examples from the aspects of nature, whether it is sunrise, whether it is sunset. They are imbibing, she is imbibing such natural aspects in her poetry in order to tell the readers that what are the woes and the wheels of the nature, what does the nature expects from us, and how we can easily understand the nature's symbolism about the dawn as well as the dusk. As Emily Dickinson was a writer, prolific writer about the nature, about writing with the elegies, proficiently about the elegies. Now, children, what is an elegy? Alegy. An elegy is a poem which actually describes about the sorrows, the, you can say, about the defeats of the soldiers in the battlefield, immortality, that is also, you can say, an early age death. So such was the theme, basic theme and tone of poetry which was being compiled by Emily Dickinson. Like most of the writers, Emily wrote about what she knew and she intrigued into her. That is, she used images of nature. As we can see in this poetry, we can see images of nature. A keen observer, she used to have images from nature, religion, law, universal themes, wonders of nature, domestic activities to probe. In this poem, we will find all these examples. First is domestic activities to probe universal themes, wonders of nature, identity of self as well, and love too also. In such a poetry, where you have the combination of all these, over there you can't stop yourself to understand what are the aspects of nature and why one has to fall in love with them, or how one falls in love with them. Starting with the poetry, I will have difficult words first: steeple, amethyst, style, domini, untied. I repeat the new words or the difficult words for you. First is steeple, a tall pointed tower on the roof of a church, often with a spire on it. Amethyst is a stone, is a valuable purple colored stone which is used in jewelry. And hereover, the poet has used the color of amethyst, that is the color of the stone, to elaborate as well as create a metaphorical ambience. Style, that is a set of steps that helps people climb over a fence or a gate in field. Domini, a pastor or clergyman. Untied, that is to have the loose ends together with oneself. So you have to make sentences with these words after taking help from the dictionary. That is, you have to find out the meanings of these words on your own, and with the help of a dictionary you have to make sentences on your own. Now this is the poem for you all, A Day by Emily Dickinson. I will tell you how the sun rose, a ribbon at a time. The steeples swam in amethyst. The news like squirrels ran. The hills untied their bonnets. The warblings began. Then I said softly to myself, that must have been the sun. But how he said, I know not. There seemed a purple stile, which little yellow boys and girls were climbing all the while, till when they reached the other side, a domini in grey put gently up the evening mass and led the flock away. Children, in this poem, the speaker, the writer, the poet wants to tell you and wants you to relate with the beauty of the nature, the beauty, the splendid beauty of the nature, wherein the children you can understand what is the importance of the dawn as well as the dusk. When the moment the sun rises, it is just a soft small layer of ribbon appearing from a far distance. The steeples. What is the meaning of steeples? Steeples are the tall pointed towers of the church. They shine and they feel as if the steeples, those small towers, pointed towers, are swimming in the deep purple color of the sky. The news, like squirrels ran. That is, the news like squirrels ran. The news, that is, the sun has risen, and the people have started with their regular activities. This news was carried by the squirrels everywhere to everyone. The hills, the bobolinks are the migratory birds. And the poet has made reference about bobolinks by taking allegorical references. That is the figure of speech allegory where bobolinks are used. Bobolinks symbolize the migratory birds which come from Australia, and they symbolize the seasons of change, and from morning to the evening they show their working activities, that is, the way they start up their work. The poet, the poetess, that is Dickinson, Emily Dickinson, declares over here that I said softly to myself that as everyone is out there, it must have been the sun. That is, the sun has risen and everyone has started up with their daily activities. But how he said, I know not. These were they are seeing the purple style, which little boys and girls were climbing all the while. She says that nobody knows how he said just a while before the day has started, and right now I don't know how the sun said just so immediately. She says just now the little boys and the girls were playing all around, and just in a while they have stopped. They have gone back to the home till when they reached the other side, Domini in grey. Domini, a pastor or clergyman, put gently up the evening bars and led the flock away. That is, as soon as the sun set, this particular series of activities came to a halt and everyone was awebound. The noise, that entertainment, and the enterprising nature of the natural aspects, the birds, the animals, the creatures, everything came to a halt, and the flock, that is, what is a flock? A group of birds. All the group of birds who were actually retiring their activities or executing their activities put themselves on a halt. So, this is the way after the sunset, soon the night arrived and the activities came to a halt or a rest. Emily Dickinson's poems comprises of live drawing examples from day-to-day life activity. She has presented the poem through the eyes of an inquisitive or curious child. You can say that Emily Dickinson has taken the curiosity of a child in her words of poetry. Emily takes the reader on a mental journey from miracle of sunrise to the mystery of sunset. Children, this was the explanation for you all, and I expect you to do this homework in a rough practice notebook which should be maintained in a neat and clean manner only for English with proper date and topic. I hope you would have all understood this poetry without any doubt. Thank you and Sai Ram.